Welcome, fans, to a special live edition of the Cheap Heat Productions Wrestling Podcast. My name is Jack Kilby, Executive Vice President of Great North Wrestling, and we are truly blessed tonight to have a man who is a legendary figure in the wrestling business, a former Intercontinental Champion, and so much more. Has hit so many major milestones in this business. Mr. Ahmed Johnson. But before we get to him, Tony Norris, before we get to him, I'd like to introduce, of course, the man who is the guru, the man behind Cheap Heat, the channel, the man Maurice. Maurice, how are you tonight, sir?
Thanks very much, Jack, for those kind words. But the man in the middle is who we've been looking to talk to for a while. And Tony, we're going to start off because I know you and Jack had a conversation off camera that your name has been in the wrestling news lately due to some interesting and frankly harsh comments from Booker T. So do you want to respond to that, or what's kind of brought all this to the forefront again?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't know what brought it to the forefront, but he really pissed me off, man, when he started talking all that trash and he called me scum. First of all, he acted like he know me. He don't even know me. When I met him, I was probably about 25 or 26 years old. And he just got out of prison. And just the junk he was talking is nonsense. The fact that I didn't, get the tryout with the Cowboys, the fact that whatever else he said, I don't remember. But he acted like he know me. He didn't meet me until I was 25. Or somewhere around there. I'm not sure what my age was. I know it was close. But a scum to me is somebody who's been to prison for robbing the store he worked at. These people provided for him, and he tried to rob them. And you gonna call me a scum? No, brother. He need to recheck that. He's a scum. And it just really teed me off, man, when I heard him talking all that trash. Now, I knew a guy that was in his pod as far as in prison with him. And he told me some very interesting stuff about Mr. Huffman, whatever you want to call himself, Booker T, or whatever he call himself. But, I'm not even going to go there, what I've heard. But if he starts running mouth again, then I'm going to go there. And the only reason I'm not going there because I respect his brother. Me and Stevie used to be real tight, man. And I got the utmost respect for Stevie. So I'm not going to go there what I heard about Booker T yet. But if I decide to go there, I'll call you guys, and you guys will be the first ones to know. But I don't know why he, went off on me or anything.
But why has he brought this up now after all these years? Like what is the underlying issue there in your opinion?
I'm not sure what the underlying issue is in my opinion. I don't know why he decided to go there. I had no idea. But all I'm saying to him is he need to check himself. I served my country in the military. I didn't go around robbing people to try to get ahead. I went into the military, and he goes around robbing people. And then the time he was in prison, I was still up in Florida where I was, raised at. And so what he acts like he knows my background, that boy don't know nothing about me. Nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of an out of the blue sort of statement to make, considering the amount of time that has passed and his involvement with WWE. Was there any animosity? I know you worked together in WCW briefly, and you touched on your team with the great Stevie Ray. Was there any animosity during your period in WCW or otherwise that would be linked to this?
Well, I don't think he ever liked me because me and Stevie Ray, when he was in prison, me and Stevie Ray became real tight. And we did a lot of stuff together. And when Booker got out of prison, I don't know what his deal was, but I don't think he liked me from day one. And I don't know why. But he got me real messed up. Then he made a statement of something about I smiled at him at the airport. I don't even smile at my own pictures. What am I smiling at him at the airport for? He looked at me, I looked at him, and that was about as far as that went. Me smiling at him. What like smiling at another man? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's maybe something he's used to, but hey, to each his own. And he talking about he wanted to like he was going to do something to me. We both live in Houston, Texas. He lives in Corpus Christi, I believe. And if he ever wants to do something, I already talked to one of my instructors at the dojo. He said he will give us a dojo for free, so we can go in the dojo and we can fight till we red all over. But if he wants, to settle this, I got the place anytime.
Is that a challenge then?
Oh, it's definitely a challenge. For sure. Because he said he wanted to, it sounded like he said he wanted to piece me or something. I don't know what all he said. Because a friend of mine hit me to what was going on, and he sent me the video. And I was just shocked as everybody else. But if he wants some of me, brother, I got the place and I got the time.
Yeah, there's someone in the comments here was saying, Tony, that Booker doesn't like Tony because he wanted to practice power bombs, and Booker T said he wanted to take Tony outside, and Stevie Ray said no. That was according to Booker T in his video last week.
That's not true at all. That's not true at all. We got into it one time in Ivan Pussey's school, but I don't remember being over a power bomb or anything. And I wanted to tell him, well, when we get done, we can go outside and settle this. And we never really get to settle it. So if he want to do it now, brother, that's fine with me.
Apparently, he also said that you were not in a gang and that you didn't play for the Cowboys.
Exactly. All you got to do is look it up. And as far as being in the gang, I was a kid when I was in the gang. How would Booker know that I wasn't in the gang when I was a kid? I lived in Florida and he lived in Texas, where he was in prison in Texas. How would he know who I ran with back in the days? Yeah, there's no way he would know that. And I got some of my ex-members that would tell him that I ran with some gangs. But he was in prison down here in Texas. How would he know? But like I said, if you keep running his mouth, I'm going to go deep on him and tell some secrets that I heard about him in prison.
So for the moment, then we'll rest those comments to the side, because we want to talk about some stuff into your career. But you pretty much laid it out there that if Booker has got a problem with you, you've got a time, you've got a place. The challenge is there.
Exactly.
You want to take it away, Jack?
Well, I wanted to ask you right off the hop that you had a training experience under Ivan Putski, Joe Blanchard, and Scott Casey, I understand, and wanted to know what that was like, given the fact that each of them brought a different sort of perspective to the business. How was your training experience initially?
See, when I was there, Blanchard and Scott Casey wasn't there. It was just Ivan and Scott Putski that was training us. And Ivan Putski, man, he trained you hard. He's a shooter. And when Ivan trained you, brother, I mean, he trains you hard. And his punches are hard. His kicks are hard. And that's where he trained us the old school way.
Did you, when was there a moment in time that you decided that you'd like to pursue wrestling? I know you had an athletic background, but what were the circumstances that led you to pursue that as a career, sir?
Well, after I got out the military, man, I was looking for something else to do. You know what I'm saying? And Stevie Ray was a wrestling fanatic. I mean, he was an encyclopedia wrestling. He always wanted to do it. And being that, you know, we were partners, I said, yeah, man, if you want to do it, I'll go with you. And I do it with you. So I went with Stevie and we did it together. But it was Stevie's ideal, you know, to get involved with the wrestling thing.
And are you and Stevie still close to this day? Are you guys in contact?
Well, I haven't talked to him in a while, man, so I don't know. It's been a while since I contacted him. And, you know, that's his brother, Booker Huffman is his brother. So I don't know, you know, if he's pissed at me too, because me and his brother's getting it on. But I don't know, but Stevie's always been there, man. He's always had my back, always had his back, man. I got nothing but praise to say about Stevie. Nothing but praise.
Yeah, and of course, you guys, I know I'm jumping kind of ahead here, but you and Stevie did have the Harlem Heat 2.0 thing going on in WCW for a while as well, and maybe that brought on some potential jealousy. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know either. Maybe, but even when I went to WCW, I didn't really want to go at first. 'Cause like I said, I was out of shape. I was, man, I got tired walking from the curtain to the ring. I was tired. And it wasn't really something I was looking forward to doing again, getting back in the ring. But when Stevie called, I mean, that was my boy, man. I mean, we fought in the streets together against people. We've done it all, man. So when Stevie called, I was like, yeah, you know, if you need me, I'm there.
Yeah. Yeah. I always remember you from, I told you before, we had a short podcast before, and you were the very first action figure I ever got, WWF action figure, when I was very, very young. And in the little blue ring, Jack, you might remember the blue wrestling rings that came out.
Yeah.
And you were the first action figure I had. But I always remember you like being 98 Royal Rumble was when I think I first seen you, and just remember that fantastic shape, fantastic athlete. If I could pluck some matches or moments from your career, one of them that stands out to a lot of people is, remember the work you were doing with Goldust when you guys were
That
fighting
stands out to
together.
everybody.
Yeah, and it's like, was there any kind of backlash or kind of from the guys when, you know, when he kissed you and they done all that stuff and that angle? Was that kind of hard for you to do, or was that something you were open to doing?
No, what happened was we rehearsed it. And
Okay.
Goldust was supposed to put his hand over my mouth like this.
Yeah.
And kiss his hand. But it was live TV and he knew I couldn't get up, you know, and mess up the script. So he decided to do it for real. And, you know, Goldust is, man, a ace, man, to work with. And that's just what he is. He's just a funny guy. And he's always pulling ribs on people, you know. That's Goldust.
What did you say to them when you got back?
It was funny. I guess he thought I was mad for real, because when I got back to the back, he had already packed up and left. So I guess he thought I was mad for real, and I really wasn't.
Yeah.
Brilliant. You know, so yeah, Goldust, man, he's a diamond, man.
In terms of going back quite a bit, I first became aware of your work when you were a part of the Global Wrestling Federation.
Yes.
And that whole mythology that surrounds that organization. How did you hook up with them? And do you have any recollections of working in the famous Dallas Sportatorium, which will be heavily featured in the upcoming movie on the Von Erichs, The Iron Claw?
Well, I got a call from them and asked me to come up, you know, and basically do some matches, and I did. And the match that I did was me and Bradshaw had a match, man, that was a heck of a match, man. We were clotheslining each other and we were going at it. And I had a match with Michael Hayes and the Freebirds. And when we got done, Michael Hayes said, you know, man, I'm gonna get you up to WWF, man. You need to be up to WWF. And you know, you hear that a lot. You know, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that from people. But he kept his word, man, and he got me for a tryout. And from there, the rest was history.
One of the other the individuals that you worked there that I wanted to get your impressions on was the late gentleman Chris Adams. Did he, and he had a reputation for being a good trainer, of course, trained Steve Austin, amongst others. What were your experiences working with him, and did you learn a lot from him in the ring?
Yes, I worked a few times with Chris Adams in the ring for just training purposes. And yeah, man, he was a heck of a trainer. And somebody that reminds me of him is Al Snow. Al Snow is one heck of a trainer, man. And him and Gentleman Chris Adams, I mean, they both were just super trainers, man.
Maurice?
Yeah. Yeah, we touched on this before. As I said, we kind of had a few technical problems in the last podcast, but when you were describing to me the environment of a backstage WWF, you said to me it was like street gangs. So like we didn't really get to discuss it in detail last time, but what did you kind of mean by that statement?
Well, everybody had their like cliques or their group they hung out with.
Yeah.
And I was more of a loner. You know, I kind of hung out with myself and did things, you know, by myself because I really didn't want to get caught up in any of these little cliques that were going on. But yeah, it was like everybody was clicked up, man. Everybody had their own little group that they hung out with.
Hmm.
And, you know, I don't think that was a good thing because being that you have to, you know, perform with these other people, it's like you want to make friends with them. But you know, everybody had their cliques, man.
Yeah. Do you have any memories of working with or meeting even backstage with The Undertaker, or what was he like with you?
Oh, he was cool, man. Undertaker was cool as ice, man. The little bit of work we did do together, man, he was, I mean, very professional, very, you know, willing to work with you and do, although he was, you know, the king, he was willing to do, you know, whatever you want to do in the ring. I mean, he was a good guy, man.
Yeah.
And along those lines, you worked a young Kane as Isaac Yankem in '96. Did you have any idea that he would, blossom into the Hall of Famer that he did and had such a tremendous career?
Well, I kind of did because, I mean, he came out as Undertaker's brother. Anything connected with the Undertaker is going to be big. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be huge if you can connect with Undertaker. And coming out as Undertaker's brother, it was good. And Kane was a good performer too, man. He's a heck of a performer. And I think that's the first time I ever got beat was by Kane.
Oh.
Yeah, the first time my man Johnson got beat was by Kane.
We'll obviously touch on the IC. Go ahead, Jack.
Well, I was just gonna follow up with your memories of your debut on Raw, and a lot of fans remember how you were a part of that open when you fought a Canadian by the name of Jake Steele, and you gave him your finisher, the Pearl River Plunge, and that was a part of the Raw Open for years. What was your Raw debut like? It was obviously something that the office was happy with to make that open out of it.
He first of all, Jake was amazing to work with, and it was I mean, to come up there, man, and see all them people out there cheering you on, and you know, they didn't even know who I was, and they would cheer me on. Because when I first started with the WWF, Vince never told me if I was going to be a babyface or a heel. He basically said, I'm going to just throw you out there and let's see what the crowd does. And the crowd went crazy. You know, they loved me. So I became, I guess, a babyface at that point, but I didn't wrestle like a babyface. I wrestled like a heel.
You touched on him there, Tony. Vince McMahon. Did he ever give you any advice towards your character, or does anything stand to mind about working with him?
No, you know, Vince didn't really give me any advice on my character. It was like he loved what I was doing. He loved the intensity that I had, you know, which you can't find anywhere else. I mean, a lot of people have tried it, but they're not able to do it, you know, get that intensity going. But Vince just loved the way I worked and the way I looked, man. And he didn't really give me any guidance as far as, you know, what I was supposed to do or say. Even on my promos, he never told me what to say. He just threw me out there and was like, go for it.
You were a part of a rather infamous tour in '96 of Kuwait, the Kuwait Cup
Yes.
tour, and I wanted to get your memories of that in terms of the incident with Leon White Vader that caused such an uproar.
Man, I don't know what Vader was thinking, man. I really don't. But he pushed the guy, grabbed the guy or something, and they locked him in his room, man. He couldn't come out the room. They had security at the door to make sure he didn't come out the room, and they were going to press charges on him, and he would have been locked up down there. And I would hate to see Big Vader, you know, this big white guy in a prison full of Kuwaitis. I don't think it would have went over very well.
Did you find him? Yeah. Did you find him tough to work with, Tony? A lot of people have kind of mixed stories on Vader being overly aggressive, we'll say, in the ring.
No, you know, I enjoyed the way he was over aggressive. I enjoyed the fact that when he was hitting me, he really laid him in there. Because I'm a snug type of worker anyway. So it was like he was snug and I was snug. And before the match, I remember him coming back in the locker room when I was getting dressed. And he said, brother, he said, when we go out here, he said, I'm going to lay him in there on you. And I thought he was just playing with me. I thought he was, you know, just saying that, just me saying it. And we went out there, brother, and he laid him in there on me. So I laid him in there back on him, and he didn't complain. He didn't cry like most guys. He it was just a big shoot match.
Yeah.
We've got a fan question here from Ibzan is asking, did D'Lo Brown confront you when he saw you at the ECW arena last month? For months, he was talking on how he supposedly beat you up, which isn't
exactly true. He didn't even look my way, man. We were at an autograph signing, and he passed the table twice, and he didn't even look my way. You know, which I thought was kind of odd. I mean, here you are, you claiming you beat me up, so why didn't you look my way? You know, but no, he didn't. He didn't say a word to me. Nothing.
The wrestling business.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You notice that rumor didn't start until I left. It's when I left WWF, the rumor that rumor started, and I was like, that is such bull. And why would they wait till I leave? Because come on now, you knew. I mean, you guys know if D'Lo would have beat me up, it would have been on every dirt sheet. Everybody around the whole region would have heard about it. Vince would have made him champion instead of me. So I mean, that I don't know where that came from, brother.
Yeah. Ibzan is also saying there that you've got a story of a rib that Owen Hart pulled on you at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he put a good one on me, man. He was, you know, we thought WrestleMania, and I had been doing, you know, my rounds with, you know, shows and little talk shows here and there. And then I was in my room one day and the phone rang. And they said, this is Jay Leno's show. And I was like, Jay Leno, this is cool. And he was asking me a bunch of questions, and telling me, he would love to have me on and this, that, and another. And so I thought the next day I was going to Jay Leno show. So I went out and brought me a suit, brought me some new shoes. I went out and brought everything new, man. And I'm standing outside, all dressed up, man, waiting for the limousine to pick me up. And then Owen and Davey comes out. And they're like, what are you dressed up for? Where you going? I said, I got the Jay Leno show tonight. And they said, that's bullshit, man. You got Jay Leno show. And we've been here for over 15 years and we didn't get to do Jay Leno show any talk show. And they were just, act like they were mad about it. And like I told them, hey, take it up with Vince. If you got a problem, take it up with Vince. And then 9 o'clock came. And my limo was supposed to be there at 9. So Owen comes to me and said, your limo's running late, ain't it? And I was like, yeah. Then I thought, wait a minute, how the hell did you know my limo was running late? And then when I told them that, they just fell on the ground laughing, man. Him, and then Brett came out, and Brett almost fell in the bushes laughing. I mean, it was hilarious, man. But those guys, you can't get mad at them. Cause they just like playing ha-has. And then Brett told me, he said, I know that Owen and Davey put a lot of ribs on you. He said, but let me tell you something. They don't rib people they don't like. If they don't like you, they won't play with you or rib you like that.
Yeah.
So, man, I have the utmost respect for Owen, rest in peace, and Davey.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to ask you your some of the most memorable moments that you had in WWF, notwithstanding your title run, etc., was when you teamed with Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors. Can you talk about any of those experiences?
Yeah, that was a dream come true. I've been seeing them on TV and watched the Road Warriors and get to team up with them, brother. That was a blessing, man. That was a dream come true. And then me and Hawk kept doing we did little independent shows together. He would call me and ask me would I team with him, and so I went and tagged up with him for a while. And they were just amazing, man. I mean, Hawk was a super guy, man. Super guy.
Mm. Gone too soon.
Yeah.
We got another fan question saying, tell the hosts on how cool was Hawk when he gave you the New Japan jacket after the match of the Chicago Street Fight at WrestleMania 13.
All right, some smart fans out there, ain't it? Yeah, Hawk
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
when we got done with the match, we were back in the locker room and Hawk, said, do you want this? And it was his New Japan jacket. And I was like, yeah, I'll definitely take it. So he just gave it to me, man, out of, a friendship type of deal, But he was a good guy, man.
Where does obviously it was very significant, the Intercontinental title run, being the first black man to hold the belt. Does that stand up as your proudest moment in the business overall?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Well, like I said, when I won the belt, I wasn't doing it for one specific color. I was doing it for all the fans that had supported me and been behind me, because when I won the belt, we were in Wisconsin. And Wisconsin is one of the whitest places you're going to be. I mean, they stood on their feet and clapped and really gave me a lot of praise, man. And I appreciate that. And it woke me up to the business, as far as I'm not here just to be a black wrestler. I'm here to entertain people. And it changed my mind, man, about the way I thought about, the wrestling gimmicks.
Yeah. Did you ever think, or was there ever any discussion about you going for the World Heavyweight Championship and having a run with that?
Yes, before I got hurt, I was supposed to go for the World Championship. We had already got it, planned, and it was going to be, I think, me and against Sean. But we had already had it planned out and talked about it and everything. And it's just that, I got hurt and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. And he's a polarizing character as well, Sean. Do you have any experiences you had with him?
Sean was Sean. I mean, Sean thought he ran the whole show. You know, he thought that he ran the kit caboodle, and I don't, you know, really deal with Sean.
Yeah.
When you look at the product today, you were a part of, I mean, we're sitting here talking decades later about the business, and you're such a memorable figure in the minds of the fans because of just how great the product was, you know, be it WWF, WCW, etc. When do you watch the current product with WWE or AEW, or do you avoid it? And if you do you have any thoughts on why, although you know economically they're doing, especially WWE is doing so well, a lot of the fans are not satisfied creatively with the product that they see on their TVs?
Well, I think one of their first mistakes was they stopped using jobbers. And it seems like every match in WWE is a main event match or could be a main event match. And before they would build you up with jobbers and, you know, then you hit the big time after, you know, you beat a few jobbers up. And I think that's taking the job away from some of the guys out there who were just starting out, you know, and trying to make it. They can't be seen as much now. And I think they need to go back to bringing jobbers in. And I watch it every once in a blue moon. And the thing about it is, it was the Attitude Era. They'll never be able to bring that back. And to me, that's when WWF was at its finest. It's the Attitude Era.
There's another fan question there in relation to a lady that I assume you crossed paths with her, Jack. You can read that there if you like.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to know about your thoughts on Sonny and that sentencing this week as you were in the company at the same time, and he said you told her on air live on Raw, "My mom says to throw the trash out and not to touch it," which was, of course, funny.
Yeah, I said that. My mom said, "Take the trash out, never bring it in," and it seemed to be true, you know. And and I think I think she got off with a light sentence, man, being that she had so many DUI before and she killed somebody this time. And I
Yeah.
couldn't understand how she got off so lightly. You know, I mean, I can see if it was just an accident or something. But you've been busted many times with the, you know, DUIs, and then to kill somebody and, you know, take that man or person away from their family, and you get only 17 years, that I don't understand that.
Did you have would you say a positive or negative experience working with her when you did?
Well, I didn't really deal with her at all. I mean, beside that, you know, when I had to talk on an interview or something with her, outside of that, I didn't deal with Sonny at all.
Yeah. Thoughts on going to WCW then? We kind of touched on it earlier, but how did it come about, the move over? Was it kind of Stevie, as you alluded to earlier, kind of had a role there for you and you came over on the word of Stevie Ray?
Yes, Stevie was the reason I was there. Like I said, I wasn't in shape. I wasn't ready to go there. I was, you know, basically through with being in the ring. But when Stevie called, you know, like I said, back then that was my boy. And when he
Yeah.
called, you know, like, heck yeah. I mean, tag team with you. I mean, we've been tag teaming in the streets against people the whole time. But I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, tag team with you, I would definitely do.
Yeah. And was that environment much different backstage to the WWF street gang environment?
Well, I wouldn't exactly. They were like, you know, close to a street game, WWF. It was just, you know, Sean had the pull, You know, he had all the pull. So he got his little group together. Then you had the Nation, you know, who hung out with basically the Nation. And then you had Los Barricas. Then you had DOA. It seemed like they were trying to go for a gang vibe. But no, I wouldn't say they were a gang. According to Booker T, I guess he lived with me in Florida. So I mean, I've never been in the gang according to him.
In terms of WCW, you were there in the later years of the company. Did you have plans for some of the success, perhaps mirroring the success that you had in the WWF, or were you ever in the hunt there for the world title, or how did your departure come about?
No, I wasn't in the hunt for world title or anything. I was, like I said, I was somebody who really shouldn't have been there because I was, like I said, I was out of shape, and I just didn't feel it like I felt it in WWF. I really didn't feel it. The thing about WCW guys were, I mean, they were some tough guys, and they basically, most of them kind of kept their own little, groups too. And I didn't like that, but WCW was totally different than WWF.
So we lost you there for a second, but you're back.
Back.
Any memories then, Tony, of working with Eric Bischoff in WCW? What was he like?
Well, he never gave me any tough times or anything. He seemed to be pretty cool with me, as far as coolness go. I mean, I heard a lot of rumors about him, but he seemed like he was pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
When WCW closed and the folks went their ways, did you ever have an opportunity to rejoin, or were you ever thinking of rejoining WWE sometime thereafter, or was that not in the cards for you?
No, when I left, I was through with the business. You know what I'm saying? I had enough of it. I had my share of it. I had enough of the business, and I was done.
Yeah. What's day-to-day life like for you now, Tony? Like, what do you do, and how's the body from all the years of wrestling? Like, how are you holding up?
I didn't hear you. Broke up. You're breaking up.
Sorry, I was just saying there. What's day-to-day life like for you now, and how is the body after all the years of being in the ring?
Beat up.
Yeah.
Sore, beat up. But I thank God for the experience that I had in professional wrestling. I thank God for it. It was, a pretty good time. And right now I'm just, I work for an old company called Dresser Rand. And I'm doing great, man. I love it.
Excellent.
I mean, the money's not as good as WWF, but it's a pretty good paycheck nevertheless. Anytime you work with the oil industry, they pay pretty good.
Nice. And not nearly as hard on the body. But before we let you go, I want to thank you for being so generous with your time tonight. What message do you have for, again, I touched on it earlier, but the numerous fans of the Attitude Era that remember you and appreciate your work and your contributions during that peak period that we're never going to see again, as you pointed out.
Right. Only thing I tell them fans is, man, I appreciate their support. It really changed my mind about society and the way I grew up. You know, I mean, you're out there performing, and you got to, you know, remember 90% of the people out there were white people, and
Yeah.
they cheered you on and celebrated you, and that just changed my mind about a whole lot of things from growing up.
Where can the folks? Do you have anything upcoming to plug, or in terms of wrestling signings, appearances, and where can folks keep up with you if they can on social media?
They can contact me on Facebook or my Instagram, and I got a event coming up in California, which I love. But I got an event coming to California, and that would be my next event, I believe. And I'm not sure on the date, so I can't give you the dates because I'm not sure on them yet.
Yeah, but people can keep an eye on your Facebook page where you're constantly kind of updating
Right.
where you're at and what you're doing. Yeah. So we'd
Well,
like
once
to.
again, I want to tell Booker T, brother, I got a dojo for us. If you want to, you know, get to the streets with this, let's do it. Because, you know, I didn't appreciate what he said. And before you call somebody a scum, look at your past. And then really know who the scum is. You know, I don't know too many people that even, you know, follow an ex-convict. You know, I went to the military and served my country, and he's the type of people that we try to protect the country against. So that's basically all I got to say about it. And if he come up, you know, again with it, I'm gonna have to tell what I heard from one of his cell buddies, and it's not pretty.
Well, we are going to keep in touch, Ahmed, and if there's any developments along those lines, we will definitely be interested in having you back to speak your piece. We'll see how if Booker responds to
He will
what
definitely.
what you
He will
said.
definitely see this. He will definitely see this. That's for sure.
Oh
We can
yeah.
promise you that.
Indeed. But until then, I want to thank you for your time tonight, and we will definitely keep in touch and direct the fans to your social media to keep up with your appearances and everything that's going on. Thank you for coming on the Cheap Heat Productions Wrestling Podcast tonight, sir.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me, man.
Absolute pleasure, Tony. Thanks so much.
No problem.
Until next time, fans, have a great evening.